Hello, everyone. My name is Thomas Smith. I'm the head of business development at Netcapital. Let's give everyone a few moments here to get settled in. All right. Looks like everyone is on time, which is great. I do have a few items to go through before we get started. So I'd like to welcome everyone to today's webinar. But before I get started, I just want to touch upon, as I mentioned, a few housekeeping items. As with all of our webinars, we host Power Hero, who is one of our clients who we'll be talking to today, is actively raising capital on Netcapital right now. You can invest in Power Hero by visiting netcapital.com and searching Power Hero if you are interested in doing so. And for those who are viewing live right now, I'm going to copy over their link and put their investment opportunity in the chat. And let me enable that for everyone. Next, I want to mention that we do want this webinar to be interactive as possible. So please, when asking questions, use the Q&A function, not the chat where I drop the investment link for Power Hero, but please use the Q&A when asking questions. It just really helps me stay organized and update and go through accordingly. Next, I know when I was looking through who's going to be joining us today that there are a lot of investors that have previously invested in Power Hero, as well as those who have not yet done so just yet. We will do our best to cover both sides of the aisle, but with that being said, it is my pleasure to introduce from Power Hero co-founders Esmond and Rob. Esmond is the chairman and CEO, and Rob is the CMO and vice president. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Great.
I'm good.
How's everyone?
Awesome. And I've had the pleasure of working with you guys for several months now, and I know how busy you are. So I really appreciate both of you taking the time out of your busy schedules to chat. And there's been a lot of excitement around Power Hero, specifically in these past, I'd say maybe couple of months here, and going into 2023. So Esmond, could you just give a brief overview of the company? People oftentimes want to hear from the founder or co-founders about this. Can you just please give a brief overview of the business?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know whether you have enough time, but very briefly, I started the company back in 2017, and really started out from the fact that I was trying to charge my phone, and that led to discussions about, gee, it would be great if I could reserve a PowerPoint and so forth. And over the course of the year, I was thinking of getting a car, an EV, and the problem was even worse. I couldn't find a charging station. So therein, the genesis of Power Hero was really to satisfy my own need. But over time, as you know, over the last 5 years, EV has been talked about almost daily, and it's now become a matter of great urgency, a global urgency. And so our mission is really to promote the transition from the 300 million gasoline cars in America today, and get them to transition to EVs. But there are a couple of things that hinders that transition, and I really two things that really seems to be popping up as what bothers people. First is the issue of convenience. They want to be able to charge when they want to charge, and not have to go hunting for public stations, and the same way that you have your phone charge overnight. And the second thing that bothers people, and it's been cited as the number one issue, is what they call range anxiety. And sometimes that's translated into rage, but the range anxiety is really the manifestation of fearing that you might be driving your car and you'd be stuck somewhere and there's no charge points. And I believe what Rob is going to be talking about is going to show very clearly that Power Hero has the solutions for this issue. and and I think we have the patents to prove it that we're unique. Um, and I think that is I think a short introduction to Power Hero, and I hope you stick around and listen to the rest of our story.
Yeah, so do I, Esmond, because we're gonna get into a lot here, and we're gonna, like I said, try to cover both sides of the aisle for folks that have already
Okay.
made the investment commitment. Excitingly, folks that might be on the fence and listening today, and will be listening in the future when deciding to invest. So please do stick around. This is exciting stuff. And Esmond, I want to use one of the words you just used, and that's unique. Can you talk to us about what makes Power Hero unique and successful?
Uh, well, I think first thing is the team. And when I talk about a team, I'm not just talking about the employees, but I'm also talking about our board of directors. And Rob's going to get into that more in detail. But in our team, we have a lead engineer that's has worked for Cisco, for example. Cisco, I'm sure everybody knows Cisco. Because everybody has one of their products in their home. And my guy has been developing products for Cisco for a long time, and some of his products. Well, first of all, he's an award-winning designer. Okay, and some of his products have shipped over 10 million units. So that just gives you an idea of the kind of quality that we have in engineering. We have software engineers. Our lead software engineer has designed systems for big application, real-time applications, such as a system for the city of Santa Clara, where he was the first to put in a county-wide system for online inquiry system. And I think you've seen some of our videos, and that's produced by our director of media. Um, so very talented group of people, and we actually also have resources that's out in Asia. So this team has been working together for several years now. And the board of directors, I don't have the time in this intro to talk about them, but I think when Rob comes to that, when we come to that part, maybe I'll certainly address that in more clearer terms. But you've already heard the announcement about Troy Helming, and he's a unicorn founder himself. So one of the, I'll just say this, and then I'll beg off. But I mean, Troy said to me that he saw that we had the makings of a unicorn, and that's what excited him. So I'll leave that for another slide.
And Esmond, I'm gonna get into that in a moment, so I appreciate you you holding back because that's a big announcement. And we won't do a spoiler just yet, but Rob, I think it's important to dive into when people think of Power here. And Esmond, you gave the 30,000-foot view of the business, but Rob, really, what is the problem? Right, when the impetus and Esmond, when you came up with this idea and trying to solve personal problems, where's the company gone in 2023? What is the problem Power Hero is trying to solve?
Yeah, and that's honestly that's what excites me most about Power Hero. It's when you innovate, a lot of times you're trying to find a solution that no one has yet to a problem. But I think in this case, the entire market has the problem wrong when it comes to EV charging. So the problem itself is fundamentally wrong. And that's that the common misconception is, hey, we just don't have enough public charging stations for EV. But we're thinking about electricity like gasoline, and that's entirely wrong. The problem is public charging itself. If you own an EV, you don't want to even have to charge in public. That's not, you don't want to go wait in line for electricity at some electricity pump while you're running groceries or something like that. What people want, like Esmond said, they want the access. They want the overnight charging. I want to go to bed, and just like I plug in my iPhone on my nightstand, I want to plug in my car, and I want to wake up to all the miles I need. That's the way people want to charge, and that's the solution people need. So if you don't mind, because I think pictures are worth 1,000 words sometimes, I'll share my screen here, and let me, not going to, we'll kind of keep it a fireside chat here and not really give everyone the full deck, but just to illustrate some of our solutions and what we have, I'll go through it. And so, yeah, like Esmond said, the two problems we're trying to solve are that problem of overnight charging, but also there are so many level 2 chargers out there that, you know, people just don't know about or know where they are. And there's just no smart solution to make those accessible to everyone. So the first product and solutions we have for, you know, the problem of overnight charging is PowerPack. And PowerPack is a special product. And I just saw a question pop up about how we're different from competitors. This is how we're different. Every other competitor, every other fast charger, every other level 2 charger, ChargePoint, Volta, you need pretty significant wiring to install this charger. You know, you're going to need 40 amps, you're going to need 240 volts. And if I live in an apartment, that's just not a reality. I'm probably fighting for an outlet or a plug, or I'm parking somewhere that has lighting, but I don't have access to that kind of power. PowerPack solves that problem. It's designed to drop onto any 120 volt circuit. You don't need to do any retrofitting of the electrical infrastructure. And it drops right on that circuit. And while you're gone, it will store power for up to 12 hours. So for a driver, instead of being plugged into the wall on 120 volt, whenever I'm home, and only getting 4 miles of range every hour, I can go to work and PowerPack has my back. It's going to bank power for me. And when I come back home, PowerPack's going to dump in 50 miles into my car at level 2 rate, just like I have a personal charger in my garage at home. And then after that, you're plugged into the wall overnight. And this is how any apartment resident now, or anyone who lives in an urban area or in an old building that can't get this kind of wiring, can now get up to 100 miles of range a day. And it also draws power off peaks. So it's great for utilities. It's great for cities that want to ease the load on the grid. And it's also ideal for employers, you know, apartments and landlords, people that don't want to make the huge infrastructure investment to put in EV charging, to start dropping power packs everywhere. So we think power packs a huge part of the solution, especially in urban areas. And then our other product, Cameo, solves that problem when I'm gone. Cameo is designed to take all these level 2 chargers that businesses own, or, you know, even a homeowner may own. And Cameo is designed to go onto it, link it to the cloud, and link it to our platform so anyone can see it, but most importantly, anyone can reserve it. Again, my car is rarely on the road being driven. It is parked at my house, or it is parked at work for a really, really long period of time. So when I'm out and about, parked for long periods of time, I would love to park somewhere that's reserved for me where I can go get charging. And Cameo will allow that. It'll allow us to link all of these unnetworked level 2 chargers that, you know, aren't going to fast charge my entire car in 15 minutes, but I can park there for 3 to 4 hours while I'm doing something, or 8 hours at work, and get most of my tank full. And, you know, I'm good to go for the day. But most importantly, I can rely on that charger being there for me, because Cameo makes sure it's reserved and, you know, it's just for me. So that's kind of I wanted to give a more detailed, you know, picture oriented view of the problem we're trying to solve and the solutions we're bringing to market.
I think if I may just add to that, Rob, about the Cameo, is that, excuse me, when I started out and talk about the two things that hinders EV transition, I talk about range anxiety, and this is what the Cameo, I think, is going to be a great solution. Because if you imagine that there's already 1 million household charging stations, okay, these are already installed in people's garages, and the Cameo is designed to plug into these pre-installed chargers. So you just imagine if there's 1 million of these chargers across America that is connected via our Cameo. To me, I may not be able to charge fast, but knowing that there's always going to be one just around the block where I'm going to be across America, I think that is going to help reduce range anxiety. It'll help people feel that, well, yeah, so I have to charge for an hour, but at least I can get home.
Yep.
Rob, really appreciate that explanation. And Esmond, thank you for the follow-up. And then this goes into the next question, and we got 2 inbounds on this already, but you know, you've been hearing about electric vehicles and charging for quite some time now, with just what we're trying to do to just better society and the planet and everything. So when you look at the market for Power Hero, how big is the market opportunity?
Yeah, and that's yeah, really important question, of course. So that's why I'm pretty sure I have a slide on it here somewhere. That's it.
Or just think about the fact that there's 300 million cars
Yeah.
in America that
Yeah.
has to convert to EVs.
Yeah. So again, yeah, exactly. So we're at 1% penetration right now on EVs, and with 300 million cars on the road. What everyone is estimating across the board is somewhere around 40% market penetration for EV over the next 5 to 10 years. So that is a massive amount of growth. They're predicting this market alone, without even us being successful, is going to be at least like 30% CAGR of tailwind year over year, going into the next 5 or 10 years. So, and I think that's what makes this segment very special. So not only we think we have a great innovative solution that would be competitive in any segment, despite the growth, but to go into a segment like this, carve out some market share for your own and be successful, the tailwind on the overall growth of EV is going to be great for anyone that's going to have any success in this market. We don't have to go out and conquer and get the majority of market share. That's why we love this, apartment model complex. It's something that no one's focused on right now, and going in and carving that out for us, and then taking a 30% market growth tailwind over the next 5 to 10 years, makes this a really really I think appetizing outlook for us.
Or just take a look at the 3 cities that we've already signed up for pilots. Just those 3 cities alone, we're talking, I forget the number now, but 17,000 units, apartment units. Just and I was well, I'll save that for another question.
No, it's the market is massive, and I appreciate you diving into that, because that was one of the things that stuck out to me, which, again, looking at this high level, you hear about it all the time, but our first initial conversation before we engage with Netcapital, I was just like, wow, these guys, the opportunity here for this company is just tremendous. So it's really,
and that's just America.
That's just America. That's a good point. That's just America. People drive in other places other than America.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
They're further along with electric vehicles too. So it's
No, very true. And just to that point, everyone, I just want to mention again that Power Hero is currently raising live on netcapital.com. I put, for those listening right now, I put their investment link in our chat. But if you'd like to visit our website, netcapital.com, you can search Power Hero to get in just a little bit more deeper dive into granular on how Esmon and Rob have laid out the business, which is all on Power Hero's investment offering page. Okay, guys, we've covered a lot so far, but the next question obviously pertains to the investment opportunity, which is the business model. How does Power Hero make money?
Okay. So for our business model, we're a technology and hardware company. Our goal is we are going to sell hardware, and we're going to work with people on leasing plans to buy the hardware from us. So for a consumer, for example, we'll probably be leasing, and if you take power packs and roll them into the purchase of a vehicle, it's I think it comes out to be like one of those undercoating or extended warranty type of add-ons. It's a really easy product to sell. But we're also going to have a subscription fee that comes with our product to get access to the back end and be able to use it, especially for Cameo. So it'll be a lot like the Peloton model, where you buy the Peloton, you pay for the monthly service, and the product will be priced about the same. So those kind of consumer financing models are what we're going to use. But aside from direct consumers, also there's entities we'll be selling to, Cameos to business owners, power packs to landlords, government entities. Plenty of people have, not just consumers, but entities at places that they can put power packs that they just can't put level 2 charging. And, it's much easier to put those up in a place of business, because I have that reverse model of an apartment complex where I have my employees sitting at work for 8 hours. So a power pack is great. Power packs are at my employee's parking spot, and it's not like a gas station where everyone in town can come line up and jack up my power bill to something that, I'm never going to be able to pay. So power pack's a great little single serving charging solution for, employers as well.
Well, let me just add something on Cameo because Cameo was the first product that we came out with, and I don't know whether people have heard me say this before, but Cameo is akin to the Airbnb. If you if you're an Airbnb host, you rent out your home for strangers. Well, Cameo enables you to rent out your charger to the public. So imagine that. Imagine having an Airbnb of charging that potentially could be 1 million homes. How big is that?
It's exciting stuff, guys. And we just got another question in, so I'm going to go more in depth here. This viewer asked, I own three fourplexes, one in Kansas City, two California. If I am interested in having one of the Power Hero packs on my property, what would be the additional cost for those who have EV?
Well, for Power Pack, you can set the rate, and that's what our backend will allow you to do. So depending on the schedule fees for electricity in your area, what you can do is if you own a Power Pack, you can use our app and the driver can access it at a certain time. So Power Packs are connected to the cloud, Cameos are connected to the cloud as well. And so when a driver comes up and starts charging it, you can set it up where they have to authenticate and say who they are. And then you can set your rate, set a transaction, set your markup. But you can also do it for different times of the day. So people are coming in, potentially at a busier time and, you can charge more. Or if you want to reserve it, you're even provision it for certain users or renters that have that spot and they're paying extra, maybe an extra $100 a month for that spot. You can set that up and make sure only that user can use that Power Pack. So our back end will be pretty capable to manage all of that.
Rob,
But
thank you for
one of the
answering.
things, if I may, Thomas, I just want to point out because your question had to do with two plexes, three plexes, and I want to point out that one of the key features of the Power Pack is that it can use existing electrical infrastructure. So it'll give you a level 2 power, just a 240 volt, but it can be connected to your 120 volt circuit. So that means you don't have to have the utility company come in and pull in more lines into the building. So it uses existing infrastructure. And the benefit of that is to give the apartment renter or owner home charging, because you can have enough power for the individual to dedicate to himself. So he can have his own Power Pack, and he can keep it all to himself, so that he knows that he has a level 2 charging.
Esmond, I think that's a great point, and thank you for adding that clarity. And Rob, that was going to be one of my questions, was just kind of on the programming and setting, and how this can be so versatile amongst many different complexes and complex owners and things like that. And next question, guys, is I want to break this up into two parts. Talk to us about, over the last, let's say, 12 months, the progress that Power Pack has made. Or excuse me, Power Hero.
Yeah, so it's good. I think this slide tells a little bit of our story here. So I'll kind of talk on the partner front and let Esmond kick it over to Esmond for some of our patent progress we made. But partnership wise, we use Verizon and Arrow Electronics. Those relationships are pretty sound with us. Arrow Electronics, we've had a relationship for a while in product development, and so Arrow is a huge global electronic components company. So not only are they experts in development, but when it comes to managing supply chains and scaling rapidly, we're not working with a local mom and pop shop that we're going to break if we hit it big. Arrow's got our back when it comes to really growing this. And also Verizon, because all of our products are connected, especially the Cameo. In terms of development, we are formally a part of the Verizon Partner Program, and that gives us R&D support when getting our products, especially certified through FCC, and everything they need to happen to launch a connected product like a phone or any other connected machine-to-machine device like ours. We got Verizon's support there, but we also have their support when we go to market. This allows us to sell alongside Verizon. So all the outside Verizon reps who are talking to, big corporations, small businesses, they have our product in their bag, and trust me, Verizon is really motivated to sell machine to machine right now because they've sold about as many cell phones and tablets as they can sell. So connecting machines is their future, and they're really hungry for programs like ours to go out and launch. So those are our supply side partners. We've made significant progress on, our demand side partners, getting pilot agreements with the city of Seal Beach, the city of Laverne, and the city of Winter Park. As these announcements go out, we get more cities interested every day. But our goal is to launch into these cities and, get our product out there and help develop, especially the case studies for, the landlords, the business owners. What does PowerPack bring you, in terms of savings compared to a normal installation, lower power costs, the ability to draw consistently off the grid versus, people that get into a lot of charge point charges for their employees. I know have these nightmare stories about their electricity bills, running up and getting way out of budget. So those are the case studies we're looking to put together so that we can bring those ROIs back to, the marketplace when we really start to push the product and scale it. And as we talk about the patents, the patent progress has been awesome so far.
Let me just add to Rob's point about our two technology partners. Maybe people don't appreciate this, but Arrow being a multinational and multi-billion-dollar company, they have presence everywhere. All right, so if the reason we like them so much is not because they've been good to work with and they have great manufacturing capability, but just think about this: they buy parts in zillion quantities, right? So they save a lot of money. So they can get us prices that we can never get because some of the components we get is being used in other products. So we get the benefit of that in terms of costing our production. The second point to have our partnership with Arrow is that the fact that they are pretty much everywhere across the United States means that we get to inventory our product at their site, right? So we don't have to stock it, and they've already told us that we're going to get special stocking fees. So and that's a big deal, when you have to build zillions of these. And to get credit for from such a big company, it's a big deal. And I think for Verizon, I just want to point out something here that Verizon is all about data. Rob mentioned that. Well, that is where our lead engineers come from. They come from the data world. 10 million units of data items. This is just fabulous. They understand each other basically, and it's so important when you have partners that you talk the same language.
And then I think, guys, it's amazing what you've accomplished, and I've been able to get under the hood really with you over these past several months. But let's talk about between today and the end of the year. What are you most excited about, and where's Power Hero going?
Well, we're most excited to get our products to market and launch. Like Esmond said, Cameo is coming first, and the pilots with the cities are very, very straightforward because what most cities have is they have electric vehicles they use for fleet, and these vehicles charge overnight. They're on some really cheap level 2 charger, and then they go out and about during the day, and those chargers are wide open. So, immediately, piloting Cameo on those to offer those to the general public during the day or something that most cities want to do. It makes sense. They can put 30, 40 chargers in a city like Laverne, Winter Park, Seal Beach, overnight and offer them to the public during working hours when the cars aren't there. And then, prototyping are getting the full market prototypes and, together for PowerPack. And, we have these cities support as well to launch these into some of their parking areas, their city offices, to get PowerPack, out there in the market and get case studies going on PowerPack as well.
Right now, I don't want to be talking out of school, but the fact that PowerPack is patented, I'm more comfortable now in opening up the kimono I'm not I'm not making promises, but I'll tell you that the patent is quite comprehensive. It covers applications, for example, for portability. So just you might want to stretch your mind about that. But imagine, uh, imagine if every Uber driver has a portable power pack in their car. So now all of a sudden you have a version of our Empower. Empower is our mobile station, and we have a patent for a mobile station too. So a mobile charging station. So just imagine that. What if every Uber driver has a power pack in their trunk? Now, when you call Uber, you're not just calling Uber for a lift. You may be calling for a charge. That's our power pack patent. Our patents are quite comprehensive.
Guys, I think it's fascinating where, you've taken the concept and then also applied it to different areas. Something that I've used, right, is AAA. Could it be applicable with AAA? And
Yep.
there's a power pack in the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah, man. Now that you mentioned AAA, which is a nice segue for me, but AAA has what, 48 million members. You don't see them on the street. I mean, you don't see tow trucks everywhere, right? So that's not 48 million members requiring a tow truck every day. You just don't see them. But what you may be missing is what people don't understand about places like Costco. Membership fees is what makes Costco profitable. 70% of their profit comes from membership fees. AAA makes their money on membership fees. No, they don't make money on charging you to tow your car. And our model, as Rob mentioned earlier, is based on subscription fees.
No, Esmond, I'm happy I brought that up because I know I've heard you say that once before, and I think it's important to distribute that message and let folks know. But before we go any further, I do want to double click on something that we talked about at the beginning when, Esmond, you were alluding to the team a little bit. I've known you and Rob, I've known you, like I said, for several months now, and you guys are so humble. Can you talk about yourselves and your backgrounds and before Power Hero and what you've done here? And I find both of you to be fascinating and just extremely successful entrepreneurs over decades worth of work.
Well, I've been an engineer for all my life, I guess, and I like to tinker, and I like to come up with solutions, innovation, and it just hits me sometime during the middle of the night and think of something. And I've been very, very blessed with having had the opportunity to start several companies, and I've also been blessed in turning around some companies that people have given up on. And one of the companies was a company that was doing voice messaging, and they had burned out about 2 sets of investors, and I came around and I became the lead investor and turned around that company. And part of the innovation there was to integrate voicemail with. Forgive me for being one of the pioneers in voice messaging because I hate voicemail now, but we integrated voicemail with electronic mail and fax, all in one phone call. So you could make one phone call and retrieve your voice messages, your email, because the email would be spoken out to you in computer language, and you can get your fax redirected to a nearby fax machine. So innovation is kind of in my blood. I've been involved in innovation in all kinds of things, and one of the companies I got involved with was a bedside patient monitoring system, and it was one of the first wireless devices in the market. And I was one of the lead investors there, and we took that company public. And the best thing about exits, if you have the choice, is to go public and then get acquired. So you get a double bang. And that was one of those situations. So I've been very blessed in having exits in some of the companies that I've been involved with.
Thanks, Esmond. And Rob, if you could jump in.
Yes. So I started my career. I was, I went to Naval Academy. I was an officer in the Navy for 7 years. And then I got out and I went into Fortune 500 medical device, company and, lean manufacturing, Six Sigma training and started on the operations side, moved through supply chain as well. And the entire time I felt like I was always tied to either huge development projects where we were launching something or some sort of catastrophic segment of the business that was on fire and we needed to turn it around. So I had great experience in that. And then I started in my career, I started swimming, I guess, more upstream into smaller and smaller companies, moved there from a private equity owned company. And, it was in its growth stages and we were raising money and we were growing. I think we grew 3x in 3 years. And then I went to be CEO for a company that a good friend of mine had started up, got into market, was $3 million in tanking. And then I was CEO of that company. We brought it to 20 million in revenue in 3 years, kind of relaunched the products, certify it in Europe and, push it globally. And so I've always been that guy, like on the growth stage of companies, like fixing something. So Esmond reached out to me early in Power Hero because, kind of a testament to our agility as well, was seriously thinking about it for, emergency medical device charging type of play, like he thought reserving outlets. And the more he shared his visions around electric vehicle, I was just like, stop, it's got to be EV. Like this is a huge growing market. It's a much bigger problem, in the EV space. So if nothing else, we're agile as well. So we quickly pivoted and put it all into electric vehicle. And that's kind of how Power Hero was really born on this EV segment. But yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of my background. I'll let Esmond kind of take over and talk about the rest of the team he's built here.
Well, I mentioned some of the engineers earlier, but the board of directors, I think, is quite a team unto itself. We have okay, you have the slide there. Well, Howard Kim is an outstanding individual. As a matter of fact, he was a competitor of mine back in the when he was involved in data communication. He was involved in communications, and his company was a direct competitor of one of my startups that I did. And I didn't really know Howard at that time, but he kept in touch and followed what we were doing, and so over the last year I brought him in to become a board member, and he's very well connected. I mean, he was working for Hitachi as a consultant for like 10 years to do M&As for them, so he's very well connected in Asia. And Armando Castro. Armando is just a fabulous counsel. He's not just one of those typical lawyers that just looking to go ka-ching, and clock you every time you ask him a question. Rob knows that Armando is very well connected in Silicon Valley, and that's where a lot of talent is. And we like to keep our pulse in Silicon Valley and keep track of what's happening there. And Troy Helming, you saw the announcement about Troy, and we actually met Troy on Netcapital, and I think we were having some sort of a Q&A webinar, and Rob actually brought my attention to Troy because as we were speaking, Troy was just going, just shaking, just going, it was just confirming what we were saying. And it was, so I reached out to Troy and we started talking, and I shared my vision with him, and he got pretty excited that we could be a unicorn. And that was one of the things I liked about Troy, that he had the experience of exiting as a unicorn. That's a multi-billion-dollar company. And we sure, we sure would like to have that happen to us. I participated in unicorn IPOs before, but not as the CEO, and I was on the elite investor. And so I've had a unicorn experience sort of indirectly. And now our goal is to be in the driver's seat and take this unicorn out. Well, you've heard from Rob, his background. And that is our team, and my engineers are really outstanding people. And one of the things about our team is that we're all motivated by stock.
Esmond, I know when you first said that, I think that speaks volumes, about founders, right? You're in this for the long haul, and the company does well, everyone else does well, but you're, like you said, you're motivated by stock, which is important for people to know. Um, you
Hey,
you
real quick, sorry, didn't want to interrupt you, but Esmond,
Go
did you
for it,
want to
Rob.
announce our latest team member? Before
Yes.
we move on?
Oh, yes.
Is,
All right. This is the big announcement, guy. I want to introduce. Do you have a slide for that? What?
yeah,
This is our new addition. Is Kurt Pringle. Kurt is a two-term mayor of Anaheim. Anaheim is the second largest city in California, and he was also a speaker of the California State Assembly. Now, you can go to I think kurtpringle.com, or just research him on Google. Kurt Pringle. We haven't formally announced this anywhere, so you guys on this webcast, you're the first to know about Kurt Pringle. His background is just outstanding. He personally knows the governor, or AKA the Terminator, AKA Schwarzenegger. Hey, that all rhymes, but
yeah.
Kurt has promised to introduce me to the Terminator, and I think if you just think about that for a minute, the California is the largest EV market. All right. And this gentleman, Kurt Pringle, he is so connected in California because he's been a politician there for many years. But beyond that, his own firm, Kurt Pringle and Associates, has done tremendous amount of work in California and other states, I believe. But I would not do justice to Kurt if I was going to talk about him, because I think you can get more about Kurt on their website. But
Yeah.
we're just so fortunate to have him come on board.
Yeah, and I think it rounds out our team really well. Instead of just being tech, consumer marketing, like the leverage that Kurt gives us in working with government entities, especially in the state of California for expansion, I think is going to be extremely important. And I think there was a question that hit the Q&A about how we work with local regulations. Well, this is big for us. The ability for power pack and the mandates that certain builders are going to get. Are we going to fit within some of those mandates, and can we strategically align with those initiatives? Kurt Pringle brings that kind of expertise to our team, and certainly a lot of horsepower in that area.
Guys, this is huge, and thank you so much for making the
Absolutely huge.
announcement on
Absolutely
on
huge.
Netcapital's webinar. I mean, this is unbelievable. So, how did you meet Kirk, Esmond? I know you said you've worked with him a little bit, but how did this all come to be? And was it over the course of a couple months, or what can you tell us about this? We want
Kudos to Rob. Rob got us involved with Kurt's company. And so that relationship started there, and their firm were really, really helpful, if not instrumental, in getting us the cities that we have lined up for pilots. So, Rob.
Yeah, so we've been. I'm pretty close with some of his team members, and networked into Kurt. Thought they'd be perfect for this company, especially with a lot of the local initiatives we have in California. And Esmond and I we really hit it off with Kurt. Kurt's a great guy, and really aligned with what we're doing in terms of, trying to make it's not so much just rah clean energy, but it's like real practical solutions to make this easy for people is what kind of Kurt, because Kurt works with a lot of developers as well, and kind of helping their
That's right.
building initiatives. So the alignment with him and his team was great, and we've just grown so fond of Kurt. We couldn't imagine doing this without him, so he's on our board.
Yeah. That's a key point, that he works with a lot of land developers.
Yeah.
Rob, Esmond, congratulations. Huge announcement. Again, thank you for sharing that with everyone today live. And backs into something that we alluded to a little bit before, but I think it's appropriate to just take a moment to explain a little further. Both of you have been extremely successful prior to co-founding Power Hero. Exits for investors with this business. Esmond, you alluded to a little bit of IPO, what can happen there, but Can you just dive in a little further with that?
Yeah, yeah. Exits. Uh, you cannot really time exits, but they come around in various forms. Sometimes you get an opportunity to do an M&A, so you could sell your company into another larger company that hopefully is public, and so that their stock becomes liquid for you, so it's like cash for you. And other times you go the IPO route, and I would love to take Power Hero on that trail again, just one last time, just to do an IPO. It is so much fun. It's extremely exciting. You do roadshow that take you to several cities in one day, and sometimes you forget where you are. But that's certainly one of the exit paths is an IPO. And I might add that what I mentioned this earlier, that one of the best successes that I've had is when we go public and then we get bought, because you know what happens when companies buy each other on the stock exchange, right? They start bidding they start accumulating stock, and the stock goes up. So I recall when you had one company that we took it public at a valuation of 20 million, and within 18 months we got bought up, and we were bought out at 400 million. Okay, so exits. That's one of the funnest part. Is exiting. It's just a kind of experience that you just have to do it yourself to really taste it. Oh, I might add. Okay, our patents are not restricted to electricity. All right, this is very interesting, because when I started looking out at zero emission vehicles, EVs is one option, but it's also hydrogen cars, right? And I've had a chance now over the last year to talk to people about hydrogen cars, and hydrogen vehicles is going to be part of the solution, isn't it? And our patent actually covers the possibility of hydrogen stations. All right. So the patents were designed to be very universal and not restricted to any particular technology. So that's something to keep in mind.
And I think too, Esmond and I talk about this a lot in terms of exits. It's also you look at our portfolio, and kind of goes back to some of our questions about how we compare to competitors. It's just something our competitors don't have. And I think some of our competitors are pretty big, and they're going to really, really want it. So it's kind of this, are we going to be one of those companies that, launch, hit the market, get everyone's attention, and, people come after us because they don't have that in their portfolio? Or is it something, we take to IPO? I think really we have some strong options with this company.
And I think
And
that,
if we're going to be acquired, mark my words, I don't think we're restricted to just being acquired by an EV charging company.
Mm.
All right, that may be the obvious thing, to be acquired by an EV charging company. But just imagine this: if our Cameo becomes extremely successful as an Airbnb, right, of charging, so that you can reserve our Cameo to charge your car. Why won't we be a candidate to be acquired by Airbnb?
mm-hmm. No, Esmond, I think the versatility, and Rob, what you alluded to earlier, looking at the team, the announcement with Kurt Bringle, you're really positioning yourselves to have a strong end of the year, and then an exciting 2024. And again, reminding everyone that Power Hero is fundraising right now on Netcapital. They've raised into the six figures with us. Visit netcapital.com, search Power Hero, and it's just really, really, really exciting. And timing is everything. And I think the timing for your company, with the popularity, where government's moving, where the industry is going, I'm personally very excited to see what's next for Power Hero. And gentlemen, as we wrap up here, last thoughts on why is now the time to consider investing into Power Hero?
Now, let me take that first, Rob, and I'm sure you have some of your one of the thoughts. But There are three things required for success, for a company to be successful. First of all, there has to be an obvious understanding of the demand of the issue. The people, the mass market has got to know what you're doing. I think everybody knows that about EVs, right? I mean, 5 years ago, you had to tell people what an EV is, right? Now there isn't anyone, I believe, today that you have to educate what is an EV. The second thing for success is that the technology has got to be available to do what you want to do, right? And that's clearly proven by the fact that EV Tesla has been so successful. And that fact of technology is the fact that the battery technology is here usable. It's getting better and better. We have wireless communications that is absolutely required for cars like Tesla and mobile apps. And lastly, the third variable that is vital for a company to be successful is government support. I mean, it's so obvious. Every government wants to be an EV, so they're pushing this demand. It's like you're being dragged into this hole of opportunity. So if you have options to invest, start thinking about that. Even in a recession, this country is going to move into EVs, whether you like it or not. I think we're probably one of the safest places to be. Rob?
Yeah, I think too, it's you just might miss out, right? Because we're doing a crowdfunding round right now, but the more and more of these you do, and the more we get successful and we start launching in the market, the more money we need. So, the likelihood of, being able to do crowdfunding again and not purely go, a venture capital route or something that only institutions or high net worth people can get involved in, becomes less likely that the crowdfunding is going to be an option in later rounds. So that's why I would encourage people, like, this is definitely the round to get in on. And I think the team, the patents themselves, there's a lot of things we have that de-risk what we're about to do. The fact that is EV going to go away tomorrow? That's highly unlikely. The patents are very, very strong. So the likelihood of your investment today having some sort of profitable exit on a scale of huge exit to modest exit are pretty good with the team and the patents we have. So I think it's what I look for when I personally invest is like, okay, how de-risked is this? If I'm going to place several bets, is this one of the companies that is going to pay off way more than their likelihood to not make it and not succeed? And I think this is a great company for that.
One of the questions that investors are always worried about is the products in terms of being able to build a product. Because, hey, we talk about a patent that's just absolutely comprehensive. So is it going to be rocket science to build these products? No, because I've done it before. In my last company, we've built power packs per se, in terms of solar batteries, solar charged battery systems. So we know what we're talking about. These products have done rocket science. It's packaging and applying experience in product design and engineering and software, and our team has it all.
Rob, Esmond, I just want to echo how exciting and much I've enjoyed working with both of you up to this point. I'm really excited to see where Power Hero goes. And just to echo Rob's point, the company just told you, don't know how many rounds that they're going to be doing crowdfunding for. So, if you're interested in learning more about Power Hero, netcapital.com, searching the company. And gentlemen, I know how busy you are. Again, I said that at the beginning, but thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Thank you, everyone who tuned in live, and thank you for those who will be listening in the future. My name is Thomas Smith. I'm the head of business development at Netcapital, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.